second. Oh, there I am. Hey, how are you doing today? It's Dawn Club of Solve Stress-Free Bookkeeping. I am here to talk to you guys today about profits, but I want to give it a couple minutes because I know there were some people from the Facebook group that wanted to get on live with me today. So give it, I don't know, I always say a couple minutes, but it's more like 30 seconds or so. So if you are hearing this in the group or on my Facebook page, you can go to the post that I have regarding this. You need to allow StreamYard to see your information if you're going to comment and want me to see who you are. Currently, Facebook does not let outside streaming services have access to your information, which is good, but you can allow them in certain instances to do that so that you can participate in the chat. So that's something that I would like you to consider doing. And I'm going to give, let's see, I think I'll get started. You can always watch it on the replay, which is totally great. So I know a lot of people that are in my Facebook group are following the Profit First methodology for cash management. And I wanted to talk to you guys about the profits today. So let's start with this. Isn't profit the same as owner's pay? After all, revenue minus expenses equals profit, right? So that is the old, what we call in Profit First, people with Profit First people call it, Mike calls, it's the old way of looking at things. It's the way that the tax accountants look at it, right? So when you go in to do your taxes, they're going to take your revenue minus your expenses, and they're going to tell you, you made this much profit this year. And whether or not you have that in your bank account, that is what you're going to be taxed on. Well, in Profit First, you're wanted to kind of change the way that you think about things. So when we talk about profit from a cash management standpoint, we're actually wanting your business itself to be profitable. So we're going to separate that from owner's pay. Your owner's pay, you deserve to get paid, right? You work really hard in your business. You're your best employee. So owner's pay is going to be a different thing. I think next week is the week that we go into owner's pay a little bit more detail. So try to distance your thoughts in that way so that you're not thinking, oh, profit is owner's pay. It's not. The profit is money that we're essentially leaving in the company, right? That's going to build up. And then quarterly, you're going to do a distribution to yourself. And the quarterly distribution is your bonus. So it's not pay at all, right? It's, hey, you did congratulations for working so hard in your business, for spending as much time as you do probably away from your family when they really want you around, that kind of thing. So you want to have that benefit. You want to be able to show your family and yourself that the business is giving you something. So the reason, let me see. I don't want to jump ahead of where I was going to talk to you guys. Here's the next one. So how do you start growing profit in your business? If you've read chapters 4 and 5 of the Profit First book, you can see that there's a really deep dive into figuring out where you currently are. Now, you don't want to go back and have to figure out, oh, what should I have recorded for the last 3 months? We don't want to do that. We want to start where you are, and you want to use your real numbers. But I'm sure you can tell me right off the top of your head whether or not you've been booking any profit. You know if you've been doing that or not. In most cases, you haven't. In that case, we're going to say, let's start slow, right? And 1% is good enough for now. Okay, and you can just apply this directly to the money that's in your bank account today. So go to your bank account, look at how much is in there, take 1% and switch that over to a savings account if you want. I like to make it a checking account. Just you can transfer money in and out easier of some certain types of accounts. Savings accounts are really limited. Usually I think it's 6 transactions in and out per month. So I like to do the checking accounts. Right, just transfer 1% over there and then get into a habit. Every time that you get some money coming in, you're going to transfer just 1%. It's a great way to get started. It's wonderful to see it building up. So I think you'd be really happy. You're going to be really happy with that. So a quarterly distribution. What is a quarterly distribution? You might not even be familiar with that. You probably heard, like if you're watching the news or something here, that their companies, they give distributions to their shareholders, that kind of thing. Well, the quarterly distribution is money that you are bonusing out to yourself. Now, is that the entire amount of the profit that's in there? No, we want to leave money in there. So your profit account really has two jobs. Your profit account, it's building up the business profit so that the business is kind of building a little bit of a nest egg, but then it's also building the money so that you can do something fun with it, right? So quarterly profit distribution, every quarter you're going to just take 50% of what's in there and do something fun. Now, if you don't have anything fun coming up, or I would recommend at least go out to dinner, do something with the money so that you're not, you want to feel, like I said, that your business is giving you something. So even if it's $20 to go out to eat, something that you're giving yourself. Now, if you are in debt, this is a great way to start paying off some of your debt as well. So you can take that 50% and you know, again, do something for yourself that's fun, but then take the rest of that amount and you can just throw that towards the debt that you have, and that'll help you pay that off faster. Let's see that I have someone in here. I want to see, make sure. Okay, no comments yet, so we're good. Let's see. What about the other 50%? So that other 50% really comes in handy kind of times like this for a lot of people. If you've been doing Profit First for a while, I think that you're in a really good shape, most likely. If you are being affected by the coronavirus stuff that's happening right now, because you have been building up that nest egg, you have money if you need to pay employees, you have money if you want to do stuff. So that other 50%, you're building that up, like I said, for the business. I use it in my business for additional things, like if I have plane tickets I wanted to buy for travel or something that wasn't in my normal budget for my operating expenses, though, that's kind of where I use that other 50%. Other people just let it ride and just save it up so that they have money in case something happens where you can't work. That's another great option. All right, so that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about for profit itself. I just want you to start thinking about that. It's not the same as owner's pay. That's going to be a different thing. The profit is the business itself actually making a profit. I'm going to go to comments again to see. Okay, we're good. Okay. All right. The other thing I did want to mention today, because I have you and because everyone's kind of freaking out about the coronavirus thing, I just wanted to talk to you about how you can transition your business to work remotely. That for those of you who aren't already working remotely, if you're working in a service-based industry, or if you have an online business, maybe you have an online business and a storefront. If we're looking at having to close the storefronts, if we're looking at just trying to self-quarantine so that you're not maybe out there exposing other people since they're not able to test us in the US like they are in other countries. Or maybe you've just been thinking about it for a long time. Maybe you've been thinking about wanting to transition your business to working remotely, but you don't even know what that looks like. Are my clients going to accept the fact that I want to do that? Those kind of things. So let's go here. So the first step really is talking to your clients and explaining the benefits of remote work. Now in business, especially when you work for yourself and you're not an employee of the company, I want you to consider having all of your ducks in a row before you go in to even have this conversation. You really need to make sure that you're positioning yourself, even if it's just in your own mind, as the business owner coming in to make a deal with another business owner. If you come at this as kind of from an employee, or where you're not on even ground with the other person, where they're kind of above you or anything like, or something like that, it's not going to work in your favor very well. Mostly because your energy is going to be that of, well, you can have whatever you want or do whatever you want, that kind of thing. Okay, I have a comment, so let me see. Hey, Julie, new to this and don't have any overhead. I work my business from home, which is great, pet sitting business. I have computer expenses for software, cell phone expense, contractor pay. Do I leave these expenses in the business account and create other accounts? If so, what are these other accounts? Okay, so I'm assuming this is kind of a profit first question. You have the one account. Okay, just a little bit of profit first background. Currently, if you have one account, that's like this big serving tray that you're serving all of your expenses and income in. like one thing. So what we want to do is we want to create those small plates, because you're going to be creating small habits of separating yourself from your money. There's something called the possession effect. When we have all of that money, like some people will save, some people will spend, but when we have all of that money at our disposal, we feel very attached to it. So we want to kind of break that attachment by having the smaller plates. And whether or not that main account remains your operating expense account or your income account kind of depends on whether or not which one's easier to change for you. So if you have all of your income coming in there through debit cards and credit card transactions, and it's easy for you to just send a form to the credit card processing company to change the bank account, that might be something you want to do. If it's something where all of your expenses are already debited and all that, and it'd be a huge pain in the neck to change that, then I would make the first account your operating expense account. So you do want to go in and open the other 4 accounts, but it's kind of like how you want that account to appear. Just kind of depends, like I said, which is easier. Is it easier to move your income over? I mean, if you're getting paid by checks and cash, definitely easier to open a separate income account and rename that current account your operating expense account. And then the other accounts that you're going to have are you have the income account. So you want to have one that all of your money funnels into, right? And that makes it easy from an accounting standpoint, because if money came into that income account, you need to find in your records, you need to be able to match up what happened. Okay. So whether you are creating invoices and needing to match them inside of the accounting software, or whether you're just needing to, in the bank feed, say, okay, this was income, if it's going into that income account, that's what's happening. The other good part is, if it's coming out of that income account, is going to one of the other 4 accounts. So the first one's the income, then you have your profit account. And again, if you have money in the big plate account that you have, just take 1% and start your profit account. You can do that today. And then that's going to be a checking account. These are all going to be checking accounts, by the way. And then from there, you're going to have your owner's pay account. You're going to have a separate tax account. And then, again, going back to assuming that the first account that you're already using is your operating expense account. You should have 5 when you're done. And that's at the first bank. You do want to open 2 separate accounts. This is where it gets a little confusing for people, but you want to open 2 separate accounts at a different bank. And really, that's just to hide the profit money and hide the tax money from yourself. Because when you log in, again, that possession effect. When you log into the bank account and you see large numbers in those accounts, you start to feel more possessive about it than you normally would, and you may treat the money a little bit differently. And you may decide, if something like what happened to me, or the oven went out, you may look at that number and go, well, I can borrow, $500 from there. So that kind of keeps you from doing that. But your primary thing is going to be those 5 accounts. Okay. Back to working from home. And if you have any other questions, please do ask, or if I didn't answer your question the way that you wanted. So talk to your clients and explain the benefits of remote work. I think right now everyone's kind of realizing that it's, with social distancing, it's a great time to kind of transition to that. You want them to know that your service is still going to be beneficial to them. They're still going to have access to you. It's just going to look a little different. And in all honesty, I don't like to work in people's offices because I feel less productive. I feel like the business owner will chat with me a lot more. They may ask questions that aren't on the task list for what we need to actually get done. And it just seems to take longer when you go into the office anyway. So if you're in a business where you're service-based like that and you can distance yourself, that's one of the benefits that you can explain to the client. The second part is create an engagement letter. You want to be really clear in the engagement letter of the time frame, who's in charge of what tasks, what you're promising them, so that there aren't any questions down the line. Or if there are questions down the line, you can quickly point to the contract and say, okay, well, here's where we outline the pay structure. Here's where we outline how often we would call and things like that. So that leads me into the next point. You want to give yourself leeway with your deadlines and your response times when you're working from home. There's a few different reasons for that. One of them being, especially if you're going to be maybe have sick kids home or schools canceled. The Seattle and Sandwood schools local here are closed for a few weeks. So if you're going to have your kids around or them around and needing you, you want to build yourself a little bit of leeway in there. So, if it takes you one day to do stuff, maybe give yourself 3. And that's just response times and deadlines. And they should understand that when you're not in their office, they're busy doing the work stuff, and the time passes so quickly that giving yourself those 2 extra days, it's not going to be an issue for them. And then you want to set up procedures in your business. So I have 3 of these for you. So the procedures that you set up in your business kind of go hand in hand with giving yourself leeway in those deadlines. Because, like, for instance, in my business, I use software that my clients and I communicate through the software. But depending on what plan you're on, you have access to me at different rates. So my response time, if you are a seasoned plan member, is going to be, within 24 hours. But if you're a sprouting plan, which is on the lower end of what my service offering is, it's going to be a few days before I can get back to you. And again, and that's even worse during tax season for obvious reasons, because tax season is crazy. So setting up procedures in your business, easing client communication is like the first thing you really want to do, because you want them to know that they can communicate with you, even if they're just posting a message in that software and they know that you're going to get it when you go in to work in their account. You're going to see that on the day that you're scheduled to work. It just gives them a little more peace of mind. They know what to expect from you. A second, setting up your procedures in the business, is to access your client data and share reports and other information. So it's really important. There's so many things you can do. This couldn't come at a better time for a horrible thing to be happening. 20 years ago, we didn't have anywhere near the capability to work from home, to do these kind of talks that we're having right now, to continue to foster those relationships with people and still be at your home. I mean, it's just amazing. So some of the things you can use to access client data, one of my favorites is HubDoc. HubDoc allows you to put their bank information in, and it'll actually pull the bank statement. Depending on the bank, it'll pull images of the checks. It pulls all sorts of information that's useful to you. Also, there's an app on their phone. If they need to send me something and they're out, maybe it's a receipt, they can take a picture on their phone and it instantly shows up in the software. So that's one of the really fun things. There's a couple other things. I share reports with ShareFile. It's encrypted. I don't have to worry that my client's data is out there on the internet. Sometimes people still send me an email that has their sensitive information in it. That's another reason for using the portal that is the communication hub for our business. Now we've moved any chance of them spoiling their own information. We've moved that out of the email system that can easily have someone get into. We've moved it into a program, so it'll be much harder for them to find any information that they might be looking for. Somebody that was trying to, get at their information. We're not just like free floating information all over the internet anymore. So that's one of the really great things that you can do. One of the procedures you really want to set up. And then the procedures for remote meetings. And some of these things you'll want to decide on maybe before you have that meeting with them. But if you're in an area where you know that your kid's school is going to get closed and you need to get home fast, definitely jump in to the engagement with them, talk to them, make sure you're making a plan so that you can work remotely. And at the beginning, you may want to have daily phone calls, or I prefer actually if we do it over the internet like this, because they see you, right? They see that you're working. They really understand that, hey, this is going to work. And you may need to do that every day for a little while till they get comfortable. Once they're comfortable, you can, makes it once a month, once a week, depending on what your plans are. And there's a couple of different things you can use. I always forget the name of this one that I use here. Hold on. Whereby, WHERBY.com. I think I can host like 4 people in that group, and it just gives them a direct link. They don't have to download anything. They don't have to upload stuff. Anyway, it just makes it really simple for people. A lot of people use Zoom. You can Skype call. You can do stuff like that we're doing right now. So just keep that in mind. Set up a remote meeting. It's going to give them peace of mind while they get used to you working from remotely. Lastly, don't be discouraged. I know change is scary. The uncertainty has everyone on edge. I certainly feel it. My kids are scared. They don't understand what all of this means. They're having their classroom sanitized every day, and it's just really confusing. They're worried that if they get even a little bit of a cough that they have this thing. So, it's uncertainty drains your energy. So we just need to try to relax. Having these procedures really, really makes a big difference, right? If you already have in your mind, okay, I know what I can do if things change from the way that they normally are working. And then you're transitioning your clients and accepting you working remotely, and you will have a lot more freedom. And then maybe when all this stuff is gone, done, everything, then you even have the freedom to continue working from home. You've already built up that expectation. So I just wanted to cover that. I know it's a little bit outside of what we were going to talk about profits, but it's really something that I'm passionate about. I've been doing this since 2007, so I know that you can do it too. And if you have any questions, you can always ask in our group. You're welcome to comment in the group whenever you want. Ask whatever you need to ask to get your business running. It does not have to be Profit First related. I'm here to support you. That is what I do with my business. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Julie, for your question. If you have anything else, like I said, you can just feel free to add a prompt. I think I have to approve the posts in the way the group is set up, but I'll usually do that within like 12 hours of you asking something. If it's really more important than that, you can private message me and I will get back to you sooner. But do use that as a way to ask these questions and not feel so overwhelmed with new information that you're having to process or new systems that you're bringing on board. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.